Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah is Chagiga, Parak Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishnah Hey, Mishnah 5. Mi sheyesh lo oichlim merubim and achasim u'atim. Somebody who has a lot of eaters, he's got a lot of people to feed, and achasim u'atim, but he doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't have a lot of property. His funds are limited, but he's got a lot of people to feed. Now, the discussion here is the carbon chagiga. As we said, every person has to bring an oilas re'iyah, a burnt offering when they come to the Beis Mikdash Hayantif, and a carbon chagiga, which is a shlamim. A shlamim is a carbon that the owner eats most of it. Some of it is burnt on the altar. Some of it goes to the kayanim. Now, this person is bringing his carbon chagiga as a shlamim it's eaten. He's got a lot of people to feed. He's got a lot of people in his entourage. So, but at the same time, he doesn't have that much money. His funds are limited. So the Mishnah says, in that situation, maybe shlamim merubim, you bring a lot of shlamim karbanis to feed everybody, v'oilas muatais, and you bring less of amount of burnt offerings. Meaning, when you bring the burnt offerings, that is completely a gift to Hashem. Right? It's burnt on the mizbeach. It's all given to Hashem. It's definitely something something unique, something special. At the same time, the carbon shlamim is something that he partakes of with his family, and he wants his whole family to be able to partake from it. However, that one animal is not going to do it. It's not going to do it. So he needs more animals. But, at the same time, what about maybe bringing more burnt offerings? So the Mishnah says, no. The Mishnah says, if you've got a lot of people to feed, and you don't have too much funds, you bring the minimum burnt offering. That's one. That's the minimum obligation. One burnt offering. We spoke about what the minimum value of it has to be, and that's what you do. And you buy more animals for the shlamim. Now, question is, if his funds are limited, right? So where exactly he's going to get that money for? And where he's going to get the money to buy the extra animals for his chagiga? Again, there's one animal chagiga is obligated to give. But now he wants to add more, which we discussed previously, that when a person has a lot of people to feed, that he could actually bring more animals with along for the carbon chagiga, and they're all considered carbon chagiga. But this person, we're saying, he's got a lot of people to feed, his funds are limited. Okay, basically manage your money in the following way: buy more shlamim offerings than ola offerings. Now, here in one of the notes, they actually explain a little bit more how, even though the funds are limited, how he's going to be able to buy more animals for the shlamim to add on to his chagiga. And that is, the Gemara notes that even if his chulin funds are limited, don't forget, there's chulin money, there's non-consecrated money, and then there's the consecrated money. As we mentioned, you have Meiser Sheni money. That is, you had Meiser Sheni grain, you redeemed it onto money, now you have that money to spend in Yerushalayim. Now, if a person's, but we also mentioned before that you can't use your Meiser Sheni money to buy something that you're obligated anyway to do. So therefore, the explanation is like this. The Gemara notes that even if his chulin funds are limited, his regular money is limited, he is able to afford many shlamim offerings. Why? Since he can buy them using his Meiser Sheni money. Why? Because we learned previously that Beis Hillel said that if you have one carbon chagiga, but you buy one of the animals as a carbon chagiga from your chulin money, because you're obligated to bring that one animal. You can't use Meiser Sheni money, but you're obligated. But Beis Hillel said, though, that the extra animals that come along, because you want to be able to feed a lot of people, that you want a lot of people to be part of your carbon chagiga, that you could use Meiser Sheni money for, because it's not the essential obligation. So therefore, this guy with limited funds, okay, his funds are limited. That's his non-consecrated money. But this person is typically going to have Meiser Sheni money from the grain that he had to redeem. And therefore, when we tell him he can buy more shlamim, because he has to feed all the people, therefore, that's because of the fact that, he'll have some regular funds, but he'll also have the Meiser Sheni money to use, because he can use that money for the extra animals that come along with the carbon chagiga. So therefore, the Mishnah says the guy has many people to feed, but limited funds. Bring a number of shlamim karbanos and a limited amount of oilas. Bring the minimum one. Next case. Nechasim merubim va'oichlem muatim. Plenty of money. Many possessions. He's well-to-do. Va'oichlem muatim. And the amount of people that he has to feed is limited. He doesn't have many people he has to feed. What do we say to that person? Maybe oilais merubais. Bring many oilais. Because the Torah tells us that the pasuk reads, "Ish kamat nas yadai kivrekas Hashem alekecha shanasan loch." Every man according to his hands giving, according to the blessing that Hashem your God has given you. The first half of the pasuk that reads, "Ish kamat nas yadai," every man according to his hands giving, that is referring to ola karbanos, and that there is a concept according to what you can give. That's what you should do. If you can afford more ola karbanos, bring more ola karbanos and less shlamim. You don't have that many people to feed. So we say less shlamim and more oilas. Why? What's wrong with actually, I'll buy more shlamim and we'll eat more. What's so bad about that? So there actually is a problem. And the problem goes like this. He should not use his resources to buy many shlamim. Since he has few family members with whom he shares his meals, he may not be able to finish eating all of the shlamim meat within the prescribed time. A shlamim must be eaten before the end of the day following its slaughter. It is prohibited to bring an offering when one will presumably not be able to finish eating it. However, bringing many olas will not pose this problem as they are burnt in their entirety on the altar. See, there's a problem if you buy too many shlamim karbanos, because if you don't finish the meat is going to become invalid. You're not going to be able to eat it. It's going to be wasted. And a person initially should not bring a sacrifice that he knows he's not going to finish. So therefore, we tell the person, if you have a lot of money, but less people to feed, don't go buying lots of shlamim karbanos and creating the potential of not being able to finish its meat, but rather buy shlamim karban for what can be completed by the number of people that you have. And regarding the other karbanos, they're all burnt anyway, so you're not going to have any problem with anything being left over. Okay, so that's the case. That's the second case, where the person has a lot of possessions, but few people to feed. Next, zev and muat. Both are little. Limited funds, small amount of people. Al zed nemar, regarding this, the pasuk states, not the pasuk, it was said in a previous Mishna, ma'ah kesef ushtei kesef, that one of the karbanos is going to be a silver ma'ah, and the other one is going to be two silver ma'ahs. Meaning, if you're very limited and you have a little amount of people, you do the minimum. One carbon, which is a ma'ah, the other carbon is 2 kesef. There was a machlekes pelim meishamei before about which one is which. But the point is, in that situation, you go ahead and you just do the minimum. Now, zev v'zem merubim. What if you got a lot of both? You got a lot of possessions, you're plenty of money, and you got a lot of people to feed. Al zed namar, regarding this, the pasuk states, ish kamat nas yadai, a person according to his hands giving, according to the blessing that Hashem your God has given you. So there, the way to explain, so this pasuk is saying, you got a lot of both, do a lot of both. Where is that lie in the pasuk? The first half of the pasuk reads, Ish kamat nas yadai, as I said before, a man according to the giving of his hand. That's referring to the burnt offerings. Give it according to how much you can. Then give, according to the blessing that Hashem has given you. What's the blessing that Hashem has given you? A large family. So according to the blessing of Hashem your God, you should give, is referring to the shlamim. Now give shlamim according to Hashem's blessing. Hashem has blessed you with a large family. Okay, so bring shlamim accordingly. So we're saying that when you have plenty of both, then that's when the pasuk said, give as much according to what you can in burnt offerings, and according to what Hashem has blessed you with, bring shlamim, bring a number of shlamim for your family members. Okay, next, the Chofetz Chaim was talking about how, although there is an opinion that says that if a person speaks Lashon in front of 3, so we assume that those 3 are going to pass it on, and then it's going to spread, and therefore one of those 3 would be able to, if they were to repeat it, it would not be Lashon Hara. So he said, if let's say the 3 people are people who don't speak Lashon Hara, it's not going to spread. Or if one of the persons speaks Lashon Hara, you don't have 3 people spreading. Or if, let's say, one of the people are a friend of this person that was spoken about, or a relative, or again, the assumption would be they're not going to spread it. That if it's not going to be spread, you're not going to be able to rely on anything. Oy nirali, Another opinion, another thing that I feel, says the Chofetz Chaim, the dafka ba'oisa ha'ir sheshama ba'pei klasa mutar legalis. Only in that city that you heard it in front of three are you allowed to reveal it. Because we say it gets passed on, it gets spread. It's not going to help you to do it in a different city. Although there is lots of transportation between the two, lots of communication and back and forth between the two cities, nonetheless, that's not enough to establish to say what happened in one city is going to spread in the other city. So therefore, again, the person spoke Lashon Hara in front of three people. You're one of those three people. So it's possible that within that same city we'll say that it's going to get spread, it's going to become well known, and then if you repeat it, it's not Lashon Hara. However, to go ahead and say that carries into another city, to go ahead and say it's going to spread to another city, that you cannot rely on, and therefore that other city not going to be able to repeat what you heard was said in front of three. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Good Shabbos, Rabbi.